Hello guys, welcome to my video of 6 most fundamental pillars. So in this video, I will share with you guys information on the importance of breathing. So first thing is that deep breathe to engage your diaphragm is the best anti-stress drug. When we breathe in, we inspire, and in this case we activate our sympathetic nervous system. But as we breathe out, we activate our parasympathetic system, our parasympathetic nervous system. And when we do this, we automatically would be relaxed, and the sense of stress or stress feeling would not be so unbearably strong, because the stress activates the sympathetic nervous system. And to counteract that is to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So if you feel stressed, to feel deep breath can be very helpful. And second benefit is that when you breathe fully, when you engage your diaphragm, you're essentially massaging your internal organs. So when we move the diaphragm, as it expands, it's gonna go downward. You can see it's gonna go downward. In this case, it is a very natural way to massage all those internal organs as well as intestines. So by breathing deeply, fully, and engaging your full body or whole body movement, as we're talking, this is gonna provide us a natural massage to all those internal organs, as well as those smooth muscles we do not feel. And the third benefit is that breathing deeply is anti-inflammatory. As we all know, like inflammation, especially chronic inflammation, cause a lot of different chronic disorders. So breathing is actually a natural way to regulate our inflammatory response, especially the chronic low-grade inflammations. So by breathe deeply and fully, we not only massage our internal organs, all those smooth muscles, which is already anti-inflammatory, but also we engage more of our crucial vagus nerves. And the vagus nerve not only send information, communication between the brain and the second brain, our intestines, but also the vagus nerve regulate the inflammatory response. So firstly, when we do not breathe as deep and as fully as we should have, we have a lowered energy level. So when you have a lowered energy, this is a very natural way for us to suppress emotions. So when we do not have this aliveness, when we do not have enough energy, we would not feel as fully as we should. So this, for many people, including myself before, it served a very crucial function to push away and to not to feel those negative emotions or painful memories that I do not want to remember. However, the interesting and the most important thing is when we try to suppress or to not to feel so much of our negative emotions or sensations or feelings, whatever you want to call it, we are gonna have to reduce our sensitivity or our feelings towards positive emotions as well. So the mechanism goes like, we can reduce our sensitivities to internal informations and to emotions in general, but when we reduce our sensitivities to, say, negative emotions, for instance, anger, pain, sadness, we have to, we have no choice but to reduce our sensitivity towards, say, sense of achievement, sense of happiness, and all those positive sensations will be reduced as well. And from bioenergetic point of view, this makes perfect sense, because from breathing, we have lowered energy level, so-called energy level. So in this case, when we try to feel, when we try to sense, of course, both the negative sensations are reduced, but at the same time, because the energy level is here, right? That's the maximum we can feel, for instance. So the negative emotions and sensations are reduced to this level, but at the same time, the positive feelings, the positive aspects are also reduced. So why do we develop this shallow and short breath? So when we go back to the root, as always, since Freud, in psychology, everything goes back to the parental relationships. So one of the main reasons we have this, one of the root, is that when we were young, when we were a little kid, we have this natural tendency to cry. Baby cry, they cannot talk, the only thing they can communicate, not only thing, but the main thing is to cry, to drag attention of the primary caregivers. So when we cried when we were young and the parents or the primary caregiver yelled, "Hey, stop crying," or "Don't cry," in those moments, we're gonna have to constrict our diaphragms to hold that crying. We have no choice but to suppress that behavior, which is perfectly natural and healthy. So in those situations, no matter what reason we cry, maybe frustration, maybe anger, maybe anything, we had to suppress our crying. And in this process, we have to constrict our diaphragm, because that is actually the root of the crying. So this is the primary reason we constrict our diaphragm, to hold ourselves from crying. And not just the diaphragm is the main part, but the entire tract can be constricted. For instance, many people, you can hear their voice is just very, very sharp. And the reason for that, the reason they don't have that deep voice is because they constricted their throat, the muscles here. And this is the reason why to breathe properly, to breathe fully, has multiple benefits, not just physical aspects, but also psychological as well. And this is crucially related to that sense of aliveness that many people, especially depressed patients or depressed individuals, if you're depressed or when you see someone depressed, you can see and you can try to pay attention to that, is that all of them, their breathings are just very, very short, weak, and shallow. And that is why they're depressed, or that's the physiological manifestation of depression, which is just lie there and barely alive. So if you're depressed, one of the things you can do, firstly, is physical exercise, as we will talk about, but you can try to notice yourself, notice your breathing, to see how shallow and poor it is. And when you try to breathe fully, you're gonna automatically feel that sense of energy. But at the beginning, it might be really, really hard, because as we're talking about, all those muscles around the torso in general, for depressed individuals, might be very, very tight. The diaphragm, the entire tract here, even the muscles around or between your ribs, as well as your core, the abdomen and the back, lower back. And when you try to expand your diaphragm and all those muscles, very tense muscles, you are gonna feel much more alive and better. But at the same time, you're gonna face a lot of emotions you didn't process. The reason those muscles are extremely tight and constricted is that we use muscle tensions, no matter what type of muscle. It could be smooth muscle or it could be voluntary muscles. We use those muscle tensions to suppress emotions and feelings. So in order to get out of this depressed state, in order to come out of any sort of repression or negative defense mechanisms, we would have to solve and face those muscle tensions in our body. So the word SPIRE, SPIRE, I don't know how to pronounce that properly, it is Latin. And in Latin, SPIRE means breathe, to breathe or breathing. So, I mean, we can still see how the word are developed in all the way to modern era, because the word in English, spirit, still means something related to this. It's the root of this word. So essentially, what we're saying, oh, you have a good spirit. What we're actually saying, or from this perspective, is that you have a good breathing. And also other words are built upon this root, like inspire, right? We inspire, and we inspire other people, we give other people inspiration to let them breathe in. And the words such as expire, end, right? When you expire, you die. And also, for instance, like respire, do it again, right? Respire, to breathe, like the entire respiratory system. So all those things are rationales for us to try to train our breathing and try to breathe fully. So what exercise we can do? I mean, I think I would not teach you guys how to do it, because there are already enough information, and I would say I am not an expert in this. I'm an expert in the rationale, but in doing it, there are many other people who can do better than me. But I think I would recommend few exercises which are available everywhere. You can find them online and you can do them yourself. So the most fundamental thing is to breathe through your stomach, to engage the diaphragm. And you can just Google it or YouTube it, like diaphragm breathing. There are many exercises. And also you can try Wim Hof Method, which is he become like this like a superhero kind of figure and related to all those immune system and breathing. But I found his breathing techniques to be very good. And I would recommend anybody who is interested, give it a try. Also, there are, for instance, the freedivers training. So freedivers are probably the group of people who can breathe the best, because they just hold their breath and to dive very deep, and it's very dangerous. So they have their own system of how to breathe for that purpose, as well as how to increase the oxygen level in the blood and how to increase the CO2 tolerance. They have all those terminologies. But with that, I've tried it for a while, but yeah, it is a little dangerous, because one time I passed out because there are just too much pressures there. But I would say it is still very good. Do it carefully with somebody. It's gonna provide you and me a lot of benefits. So the other thing you can try is the singer's techniques. You can Google it or YouTube it. There are many videos teaching us in general how to breathe to produce the best sound possible. I have tried it one time, and it's very interesting because that video taught me not just to focus on the front side, which is the abdomen or the diaphragm, but also the back, like where your kidney is, like those muscles we just normally do not feel. But in order to, as I said, there are a lot of muscle tension there, and in those exercises we would expand not just the diaphragm, the abs, but also the muscles in the back and between the ribs. So in this way, we're able to actually tackle or touch upon many muscle tensions, as we were talking about before, in those areas as well, and they will be very beneficial. And one of the interesting things I found in bioenergetic is that how it's connected to the word qi, or qi, as you guys will pronounce it. So in Chinese, as I am Chinese, people believe, a lot of people believe that there's this word 气, which means air or breathe. Just like what we're talking about in Latin, breathe. So so-called 气功, I don't know if you know it, literally means the practice of qi, the practice of air, or the practice of breathing. And the word qi gradually started to mean, like when it's in the context of Chinese medicine, all those things, it starts to mean like those internal energies that flows in our body. So very interesting for me is that how the bioenergetic, which developed from Wilhelm Reich and all the way to Alexander Lubin, to Friedrich Lubin, and hopefully to me in the future, how that is connected to this like ancient Chinese medical philosophy. But the whole point to say this is that how breathing is important for our physical as well as mental well-being. Well, that'll be all for this video. That's all I can think of now. I hope I share with you guys some interesting information about breathing and how is it important for us, both physically and emotionally. And I hope this video also provide you some rationales as well as motivation to try to change your breathing patterns. And I believe that through systematic efforts, through little patience, all of us will be able to reach a better version of self, and we can all change and face different adversities we have in life. So stay tuned, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you in my next video.